Okay, so ready to like really boost your project management skills using AI. We've got all this stuff from PMI about prompt engineering.
Which is basically how to talk to AI so it actually like does what you want, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to go through it all and try to turn you into a like a prompt writing pro.
The really interesting thing here is that prompt engineering is kind of changing the whole game.
Yeah.
It's not just enough to use AI tools anymore, you know?
Okay.
You got to know how to guide them.
Right, right. It's kind of like if you have a super-powered intern, but you can't give them clear instructions.
They're just going to bring you coffee with salt in it instead of that amazing presentation you needed, right?
Yikes, Slade.
And we're seeing these large language models, these LLMs, they're impacting all sorts of projects now, from construction to even like marketing campaigns.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and PMI even have this whole course. It's called Talking to AI, prompt engineering for project managers.
Yeah.
They know this is like the future of the whole field.
So this isn't just for the tech people anymore.
No, not at all. Anyone who wants to stay ahead of the curve needs to know this stuff. Think about it. These LLMs can help generate all those project reports nobody likes doing. They can do risk assessments, even brainstorm solutions.
Wow, that's a lot. But, like you said, they need direction. So how do we actually do prompt engineering? What's the secret?
Well, think about giving directions to someone. If you just say, go that way, they'll be lost,
Yeah,
right?
right.
AI is the same. You got to be clear, concise, give it context. One basic formula is RTF, that's role, task, format.
RTF. Okay, I got that. But what does that actually look like? Like when I'm typing into an AI, what am I writing?
Okay, let's say you want the AI to graft a project update report, for all those stakeholders who are always asking for updates. Using RTF, you tell the AI it's an experienced project manager. That's the role. The task is to graft a project update report, with the status and the milestones and any roadblocks and next steps.
Okay, got it.
And then the format, you could say like a structured report with an executive summary, a progress section, and, risks and challenges.
So I'm giving the AI a job title, a to-do list, and telling it how to present everything.
Yes, exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. Even tiny wording changes can change what the AI gives you back. Like if you add with a focus on potential roadblocks and their mitigation strategies to the task, the report will really zoom in on those challenges and how you're tackling them.
So it's not just about like basic instructions. It's about knowing how the AI will interpret what I'm saying.
That's it. And it's a skill you get better at over time. The more you practice, the more you know what works and what doesn't. Sometimes there are these little tweaks that just totally transform the results.
That's cool. Okay, so RTF is like the starting point. But what if things are more complex? What if I need the AI to do some heavier work, like a risk assessment or a whole stakeholder communication plan?
For those bigger, more complicated tasks, there's the CREATE formula.
Okay, does that involve like arts and crafts?
Not quite. It's more like giving your AI a super detailed project brief.
Yeah.
You're defining its persona, giving examples, setting constraints. It's like prompt engineering on steroids.
Okay, so more in text than RTF. Got it. But what does CREATE stand for? What's that all about?
Well, it builds on RTF but adds more layers, right? It stands for character, request, examples, adjustments and constraints, types of output, and evaluation and steps.
Wow, that's a lot to remember.
It is, but it's really helpful. Okay, so let's break it down a bit.
Okay.
With character, you get really specific. Instead of just project manager, you might say like detail-oriented project manager specializing in risk assessment for big construction projects.
Yeah.
You're giving the AI a very specific kind of expertise to use.
Oh, I see. So like giving it more of a background.
Right. And then for the request part, it's similar to the task, but with even more detail. You're guiding the AI to consider things you specifically care about.
Okay, so if I'm renovating a hospital wing to make a new outpatient clinic, I could ask the AI to look for risks, but also tell it to specifically consider things like construction delays, budget overruns, patient safety, and making sure the hospital can still function during construction.
Exactly. You're giving the AI all the context it needs to give you the most useful information.
Wow, that's really powerful. So it's not just a general request, it's tailored to my specific project.
You got it. And then with the examples part, you can actually give the AI examples of risks from similar projects in the past. Things like permit delays, unexpected price increases for materials.
Oh, that's smart. So it's like I'm giving it case studies to learn from.
Exactly. And with adjustments and constraints, you're setting boundaries. Like maybe you have a strict budget limit or there are regulations you have to follow.
Okay, so it's like I'm giving the AI the project blueprint and saying stay within these nines.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And for types of output, you tell the AI what you want to see. Instead of just a list of risks, you could ask for a risk register, a SWOT analysis, even a presentation deck.
Got it. So I'm not just getting a wall of text back. I'm getting something structured that I can actually use.
You got it. And finally, there's the evaluation and steps. This is where you tell the AI what makes a good answer and how to break down complex tasks. Like you're giving it a roadmap.
Wow, this create formula is really powerful. It's like I'm creating a mini project manager inside the AI.
Exactly. You're guiding it step by step.
But what about when I need to tackle something really huge with tons of steps? Can AI handle that?
Absolutely. That's where prompt chaining comes in.
Prompt chaining. Okay, I'm intrigued. What's that?
Imagine you need to analyze a ton of job descriptions, figure out what each role does, and then create a RACI chart. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And usually a lot of headaches with spreadsheets.
Right. With prompt chaining, you break that huge task into smaller prompts. You feed the output of one into the next. You might start by asking the AI to analyze the job descriptions and pull out the key responsibilities. Then you feed that output into a new prompt that tells the AI to make a RACI chart based on that information.
So it's like a workflow for the AI. Each prompt builds on the last one.
You got it. It lets the AI handle those big, monstrous tasks in a way that's manageable and makes sure each step is done right.
Wow, this is incredible. I mean, my mind is officially blown. But before we get too carried away with all this, let's talk about limitations, right? AI isn't perfect, is it?
Right. AI is a tool, a powerful one, but like any tool, it has limits. And that's what we'll talk about next. Go back.
So we just finished talking about how AI can handle these big, complex tasks with prompt chaining, which is like super exciting.
Right. It's amazing what it can do.
Yeah, but you also mentioned that AI isn't perfect and we have to, watch out for some things.
Exactly. It's a really powerful tool, but it's still just a tool.
Right, right. So what are some things we need to be careful about, like when we're using AI for project management? What are the gotchas?
Well, one of the biggest ones is bias.
Bias, like how? What do you mean?
Well, all these AI models are trained on massive amounts of data.
Right.
And that data can reflect, biases that already exist in the real world.
Okay.
So if you're using AI to, let's say, help you make hiring decisions, you need to be really careful that the AI isn't accidentally, perpetuating any gender or racial biases from that data.
That makes sense. So we can't just assume the AI is being, like, perfectly objective.
Right. Always double check. Use your own judgment, your critical thinking. AI can help, but it shouldn't be making those final big decisions, especially for things like hiring or how you allocate resources.
Yeah, that's a good point. So how do we actually, reduce those risks? How can we make sure bias isn't creeping in without us noticing?
One way is to be really careful about the data you're giving to the AI in the first place.
Right, okay.
Make sure it's diverse, representative, and if you can, use data that's been, checked specifically for bias.
So it's like that saying, garbage in, garbage out, right?
Exactly. Bad data in means you get bad results out.
Makes sense.
Another thing you can do is use several different AI tools and compare what they come up with.
Oh, interesting.
If you're seeing the same bias across different tools, that's like a big warning sign. You need to take a closer look.
Yeah, like getting a second opinion from a different expert.
Exactly. And, the big thing to remember is AI is a tool to help you, not to replace you. Don't be afraid to question it, challenge its assumptions, and make your own decisions based on your own experience and expertise.
So it's about finding the right balance
Right.
between what the AI is telling me and my own intelligence, right?
Yeah, you don't want to become so reliant on it that
Yeah.
you lose those critical thinking skills.
That's a good point. Okay, so that makes sense. But even if we've done everything right, we're mitigating those risks, we're being careful about bias, and using AI responsibly, are there still limits to what it can do?
Absolutely. One limitation is that AI is only as good as the data it was trained on.
Right.
So if you're working in a really specialized area,
Okay.
there might not be enough data out there to train the AI properly.
So if I'm managing a project to build a rocket ship to Mars, the AI might not be as helpful as it would be for a website or something more common.
Right, exactly. And even if there is enough data, the AI might not really understand all the little details and complexities of your specific project.
So it might give me general advice, but not really get all the unique challenges I'm facing.
That's it, yeah. That's why it's so important to, use AI as a guide, not like a dictator telling you what to do.
Right. Okay. So even when used responsibly, AI still has limitations. Got it. What else should we keep in mind?
Well, another thing is that, AI can sometimes be unpredictable.
Okay.
You might give it a prompt and get something totally unexpected back, or even something that just doesn't make sense.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not like some magic bullet. There's still trial and error involved.
Mm.
You have to be willing to experiment, try different things, and refine your prompts until you get what you need.
So we need to be patient and not expect perfect results right away.
Exactly. And, pay close attention to the results you're getting. Ask yourself, is this what I wanted? Is it useful? Is it in the right format? The more you look at those outputs, the better you'll understand how the AI is actually thinking.
It's like we're learning how to communicate with it.
Exactly. And here's a tip, a really good one. Document everything.
You've mentioned that a couple times now. Why is documentation so important?
Think of it as your prompt engineering journal.
Okay.
It helps you track your progress, see what works and what doesn't, and avoid making the same mistakes again.
Makes sense.
Plus, it becomes this really valuable collection of knowledge that you can refer back to, like your personal AI playbook.
So I can build on my past wins and avoid those like facepalm moments where I realize I already tried this prompt and it was a total flop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe someday you'll be sharing your best prompts with everyone and helping other project managers become AI experts.
Well, I have to say, before this deep dive, I was a little intimidated by AI. It seemed like something only, tech people could really get.
Yeah.
But now I'm actually feeling kind of excited to start experimenting. Like I actually have a roadmap and the tools to use AI in my projects.
That's great to hear. And remember, this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
The world of AI is changing so fast, there's always something new to learn. Just stay curious, keep experimenting, and keep asking questions.
On that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive. But for our listeners out there, this is really just the start. Now it's your turn to dive in, experiment, and discover the magic of prompt engineering. Thanks for joining us.
And remember, the future of project management is being shaped by those who can really master this new skill set. So go out there and create amazing things.
Okay, so we've covered what prompt engineering is and why it matters.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now I want to know, how do we actually get good at this? Do I need to go back to school, get a degree in AI?
No, not quite. Honestly, it's way simpler than you might think.
Yeah.
The hardest part is often just our own mindset.
Right.
We got to approach this whole thing with a spirit of experimentation. Like we're explorers, right? Charting new territory.
So ditch the fear of messing up and just jump in.
Exactly. It's kind of like learning a new language. You'll make mistakes. There'll be times you're like, what am I even saying?
Right.
But the more you practice, the better you get, more fluent.
Yeah, I like that. Makes it less scary. So where do we even start? Any concrete steps to, level up our prompt game?
First thing I'd say, get familiar with the different AI tools out there. There's ChatGPT, obviously, but there are tons of others. And they all have their own little quirks and what they're good at.
So it's like finding the right tool for the job, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb.
Exactly.
Mm.
Perfect analogy. And then don't be afraid to experiment with those formulas we talked about, the RTF and create.
Right.
But don't be afraid to go beyond them too, See what happens when you change the wording a bit, add more detail, try a different angle.
Sounds like the key is to treat it like a constant experiment. Not looking for one perfect prompt, but always learning and refining.
You got it. Pay attention to what you're getting back. Is this what I was expecting? Is it actually useful? Is it in the right format? The more you really analyze the output, the better you'll understand how the AI is working.
It's like having a conversation with it, right?
Yeah.
The more we interact, the better we understand each other.
Exactly. And here's a pro tip. Write everything down. Keep track of your prompts, what you got back, any aha moments you have.
You keep saying documentation. Why is that so important?
Think of it as your prompt engineering journal.
Okay.
It helps you see your progress, what's working, what's not. You avoid repeating the same mistakes. Plus, it becomes this treasure trove of knowledge, your personal AI playbook.
So I can build on those wins and avoid those moments where I'm like, wait, didn't I already try that and it totally bombed?
Exactly. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one sharing your amazing prompts someday, helping all those other project managers become AI whisperers.
Well, I gotta say, before this whole deep dive, AI kind of scared me, honestly. It seemed so, techy. But now, I'm actually kind of excited to start playing around with it. It's like I have a map and the tools now,
That's awesome. And remember, this is just the first step. AI is changing so fast, there's always something new. Just stay curious, experiment, Never stop asking questions.
Love that. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive for today. But for our listeners, this is just the beginning. Now it's your turn to jump in, try things out, and discover the magic of prompt engineering for yourselves. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
And remember, the future of project management belongs to those who can master this new skill. Go out there and create amazing things.